Unexpected by Arctic Vulpix. We are on chapter 17. In the last chapter, we learned more about the toys' relationship with the original bots. And also some more pranks as always, because it's expected, and you got Ruby, and she's chaotic and a prankster, so more pranks. And now we're on chapter 17. As always for these videos, if you would like to read along, there's a link in the description below. So, let's get started. Chapter 17. Sick Day. The restaurant hadn't even opened yet, and the staff were already covered in glitter, paint, and numerous other things that hadn't been on them when they walked into work that morning. As the security guard was coming in for the staff meeting, just before they opened, they were all storing their rage away to unleash on her. Which is a mistake. You don't want to do that, trust me. This was on an entirely new level from before, and despite her menacing aura, they weren't about to let this slide. Eventually, she walked through the door. The words died on everyone's lips. The murderous look in her eyes was very clear and focused on them. There was a taser strapped to her thigh, and was swinging a baseball bat slightly at her side. If they didn't know the girl was the night guard, they would have assumed that a gang leader had just walked in. A couple of the day guards who had never met her frowned and moved to kick her out, only to be grabbed by the other employees. "That's the night guard," one of them hissed, "and she's in a seriously bad mood for some reason." They watched her stalk through the room and disappear into the meeting room. They had a feeling that this was not going to be a normal staff meeting. The meeting started off normally enough once they had managed to get the shaky manager to go into the room. Ruby sat in a chair close to the front of the room and watched him like a hawk, which certainly didn't help his anxiety levels. He nervously introduced the new night guard to those that hadn't met her yet, before moving on to the boring things. After 45 minutes, he seemed to have relaxed somewhat and smiled at them, asking if anyone had any announcements or questions. Much to their horror, Ruby raised her hand. His grin fading, he nodded at her to speak. She stood up, stretching, and the smile on her face did absolutely nothing to hide the fear in her eyes. "So," she held up a poster. "What's all this about, boss?" He frowned. "That's the advertisement for the new animatronics that we are bringing in." "Oh, I know about that." Her smile grew razor sharp. "What I'm asking is if you're so stupid as to try and place my buddies." They all gaped at her, half from anger at the disrespect, and half from shock at her words. "What?" the manager asked, wringing his hands. "Listen." She dropped the smile and glared at him. "Freddie told me that this bunch has replaced them before, and I'm not about to let something like that happen again. The kids love the bots. I love the bots. Before you bring it up, I don't care about a bit of homicidal behavior, and it's got a long and complicated explanation anyway. At the moment, they're my friends. Always have been, even if they didn't know it. I've been a fan of those places since I was a kid, and I'm not letting something happen to them. Now, I don't care if these new animatronics are coming in as additional robots. My problem is if they're coming as replacements. So, which is it?" She folded her arms and watched him critically, no hint of the childish trickster that they knew in her gaze. Uh, actually, that isn't decided yet," the manager answered. She raised an eyebrow, silently asking for elaboration. Uh, it was going to depend on the customer's reaction over the course of 5 months," he explained, wringing his hands again under the force of that stare. Suppose that makes sense, even if I don't think their popularity would go down at all." She frowned, looking thoughtful, but not furious anymore. "But you have to understand that if the bot goes, I go. Then you get to deal with dead night guards again." Everyone shuddered at the bluntness of her statement. "You really get along with the animatronics?" someone asked. She nodded. "Yeah, we have movie nights now. They don't try and kill me anymore." More shuddering. "And if you bring in new animatronics, The killings will continue. I can guarantee that. She seems serious. How do you know? Henry asked suspiciously. She shrugged. That's a secret. But I won't be there to stop it this time. The bots are the only draw for me to come here. I've got no nostalgia or connection to these new ones. She waved the poster around again. The manager nodded, glad that she had calmed down, and seriously considering her words now. He didn't think he was prepared to lose her, crazy as she was. She had changed something for the better, even if they didn't know what. I'll definitely take that into consideration, he assured her. She stared at him for a moment before nodding. All right, but I'll be watching. I may be young, but I'm not stupid. I'm serious about all this. She turned and headed for the door. Well, that's all I wanted to say. I'm gonna see the bots now. She paused in the doorway. Oh, and have you found some fireworks? Don't worry. Freddie stopped you before I could set up that prank. That smirk was back as she looked over her shoulder at them, and then she was gone. Fireworks? Someone squeaked in panic. Ruby walked into the room, humming to herself. The gang was setting up tables and getting ready for the day when they spotted her and waved. She returned the gesture and sauntered over to them. So, I terrified everyone on the staff, she said conversationally. Bonnie and Foxy laughed, while the other two rolled their eyes. The manager said that they're not being brought in specifically as replacements. It depends on customer reactions. But I may have threatened with leaving if they got rid of you guys. He didn't seem willing to lose a living night guard, she explained, and she stopped Bonnie from setting off a glitter mine accidentally. They looked at her gratefully. The idea had still been weighing heavily on their minds. What's with the taser? Chico asked. She grinned. In case they gave me the wrong answer. Why else do you think I left the fireworks here? You did what? Freddie asked sharply, while Bonnie looked dangerously excited. I'm not going to use them now. They gave me the right answer. She rolled her eyes and waved them off. Ruby, this is still a kids' restaurant. Please don't leave dangerous things lying around. He pinched between his eyes. She looked thoughtful for a moment. Huh. Guess I should take that flamethrower home then, huh? She murmured, scratching her head. Ruby! Chica and Freddie yelled, while the others chuckled. She laughed and dodged a half-hearted swipe. Okay. Well, I'll be She interrupted herself with a short coughing fit. They paused. You okay, lass? Foxy asked, frowning. She nodded, waving him off. Fine, just a throat tickle. I'm gonna head home now then, since everything's sorted. See you tonight. They watched her walk off, slightly worried. They'd seen their fair shares of colds in this line of work, and could definitely spot the beginnings of one. But Ruby was a big girl. She could handle herself. By the time the place closed and her shift was approaching, they had already forgotten about the concern. They powered down for a bit, waiting for the night guard and whatever nonsense she was going to bring. By the time they powered on, the light was already turned back on, so they knew if Ruby was there. She just wasn't anywhere in sight. They frowned at each other in confusion. Usually she was the first to come running up to them in the middle of the night. Foxy came out of Pirate's Cove and raised an eyebrow at her absence. Goldie materialized and looked around confused. Where is she? Bonnie wondered. The group decided to split up and explore the pizzeria. 5 minutes later, Goldie came running to them all in a panic, popping in and out of existence in front of each of them as they searched, yelling something about the office. Even more confused, they hurried over to the office. The sight that met them was interesting, panic-inducing. Ruby was curled around the tablet like it was a teddy bear, using the office chair as a pillow with the lower half her body slumped onto the floor. She clearly had a fever, if her flushed face indicated anything, and yet she had about 5 jackets on. They rushed forward worriedly while Goldie followed behind them, panic clear in her eyes. Ruby? Lass? Foxy asked, hand hesitantly shaking her shoulder. She grunted and peeled one eye open. Tired, she grumbled, her voice slightly raspy and indicating that she had been coughing. This had clearly had a fast onset since she had seemed mostly fine earlier that day. Unless she was that good at hiding how she was feeling. And that concerned me even more. I could tell less. You're not feeling very well? He asked gently, believed that she was responsive. She guarded for a moment. No, I think I caught a cold. Kind of obvious, lass, he chuckled. She grunted again and turned her head slightly. Cold, she grumbled. She stepped forward and felt her forehead. You've got a fever, Ruby, she murmured, looking concerned. Probably picked it up from working in the pizzeria around kids. Happens. Oh, wait, hold on. That's probably picked it up from working in the pizzeria around the kids. Happens to all the employees in the beginning. Surprised that it took this long to hit you, Bunny admitted. I've got a good immune system. She frowned for a moment. Immune? Funny word, don't you think? Immune. Foxy chuckled and covered her mouth. Yeah, it's a funny word, lass. Aren't you uncomfortable now? Wouldn't it be more comfortable in the staff room? He coaxed. She made a whining sound. Tired. Didn't get far. She got more around the tablet. For once, she actually sounded younger than her actual age, instead of older. There's a couch there, Bonnie added. She seemed to debate this, face scrunching up as she stared up at them. Finally, she seemed to make a decision. Carry me, she demanded. They blinked in surprise. Bonnie hurts. She didn't get any further as she suddenly started coughing. They winced. It sounded like a painful cough. All right, lass, Foxy agreed, wanting to get her out of the cold office. He bent down and picked her up, surprised by the lack of weight. She was actually smaller than would be average for her age, and lighter than she looked. Growling something under her breath, she cuddled the tablet and shut her eyes again, looking like she was getting ready to go back to sleep. Quietly, the group moved to the staff room, worried about the normally boisterous night guard. Seeing her so out of sorts was disturbing. Eventually, Foxy set her down on the couch, or at least tried to. She didn't seem quite willing to let go in her half-asleep state. Us, let go. Foxy used the tone of voice he used with sick or injured kids at the pizzeria. She made another whining sound. Cuddly, she mumbled. They stared at her in confusion. You guys are cuddly. Not like the ones on the poster. They look like dolls, not cuddly. You can't cuddle a doll since it'll poke you. I've tried before. It's very uncomfortable. You guys are like plushies. I like plushies. She was rambling by now, and Foxy was able to sit her down. Think she's delusional? Goldie asked, panic edging her voice. As Freddie turned to reassure her, Ruby spoke again. Hey, when did we get an elephant? She asked. They turned back at her. She was staring suspiciously at one of the other chairs in the room. I didn't know elephants came in green, she mumbled. How high is her fever? Freddie asked Tika. Maybe you should call someone to pick you up, lass, Bugsy suggested gently. We'll survive one night without you. I need to rest. She shook her head. I walk home, she explained, still staring at the chair. Her eyes were slightly unfocused. That didn't sit well with them, since she wasn't minding her walking around alone every night then. They pushed that aside, though, as they focused on the present. We can call your parents to ask. I'm sure they would want you home if you're feeling this bad, he pressed. She shook her head, though. Again, though. You can't. Why not? Bonnie asked, brow creasing. She was stubborn, even when sick, it seemed. They're dead, she explained matter-of-factly. I don't think the elephant likes the giraffe. The silence felt like it was strangling them. Ruby? Freddie spoke softly, keeping his voice level with an effort. She looked at him quizzically. What do you mean? He asked gently. She blinked a few times, eyes becoming slightly more focused. Oh, I never told you guys. She flopped back on the couch. I live in an orphanage. Memories of the girl entering the pizzeria with her parents flashed through their minds, and they stared at her in confusion. After I turned 10, it was a car accident. Nothing bad like drunk diving or anything. The roads were slick after rain, and it was misty. I was the only one who survived the crash. She stared at the ceiling. Chica covered her mouth in horror. Oh, Ruby! It's just you and Ricky then? Bonnie murmured sadly. To their surprise, she shook her head again. I'm an only child. Now they were confused again. After I arrived at the orphanage, Ricky kind of grew attached to me. He's our only child, too. Parents died in a home invasion gone wrong when he was younger. So after a while, he started calling me his sister. I don't know, mind so we kind of adopted each other as siblings. Everyone refers to us that way, even the guardians of the orphanage. Bob's got the feeling that she wouldn't be sharing this much if she wasn't sick to the point of hallucination. I'm sorry, lass. We didn't know, Foxy murmured, kneeling next to the couch. She shrugged and winced. I never told you. But can't we call you our guardians then? Freddie asked, still worried about her health. She shook her head again. There's two. One's out of town at the moment, and the other can't leave the kids alone. I'm the oldest in the orphanage. They fell silent again, watching as she started playing with the tablet, upside down. All right, but take it easy tonight, okay, lass? Foxy felt her forehead, frowning at the temperature. She nodded, humming slightly. I take care of myself when I'm sick all the time. She probably meant it to be reassuring, but it really wasn't. Don't worry, we'll keep an eye on you. Chico was already entering mother hen mode, bustling around and collecting pillows. Want anything? Bonnie asked. Before she could shake her head, Foxy stopped her. We're programmed to take care of kids last. We can't ignore you being sick, even if we tried. So just take advantage of it. He chuckled at the look on her face at the word kid. She nodded slowly. I'm thirsty, she admitted. Bonnie left to go to get some water from the kitchen fridge. Chica began fluffing the pillows around her while she stared at them, all bewildered. You okay? Goldie asked, flying closer. Yeah, just not used to being taken care of. I take care of the kids usually. They're a real handful for the Guardians most of the time, she mumbled, eyes going out of focus again and flicking over to the elephant chair. That simple statement really broke their hearts. Children, though in our hold, were supposed to always have someone to take care of them when they were sick or hurt. Did that mean that she had dealt with all those injuries from the sixth night by herself? Bonnie returned with the water soon after, as she drank greedily. A few moments after that, she started whining that she was too hot. Goldie and Chico helped her pull off the layers of jacket while Freddie and the boys searched for medicine in the cabinets. They'd seen the staff provide medicine on occasion to the employees and customers both, simple cough medicines and headache pills. But they should help Ruby, if they could be found, that is. Ruby went into another coughing fit behind them, and they searched faster. Goldie managed to coax the tablet out of her arms and replace it with a pillow, but she curled around with a soft whimper. Hate being sick, she grumbled in a raspy voice. No one likes being sick, Foxy answered, with sympathy from nearby. It's always like this, she continued whining. Like what? Bonnie asked. Tickle in the throat, then boom! Her sudden yell sent her into another coughing fit. After she swallowed some more water, she continued. It's super bad the first night, and then it gets better. Why did you come to work if you knew? Freddie asked, frowning. You could have called in sick. You've done more than enough overtime as is. She shrugged. I like my job. It's also more quiet here. Love the kids, but it gets a bit much if I'm sick back home. They try to help, but it's not really help. Last time there was a fire in the kitchen. Makes sense, Foxy admitted. Hey, a zebra! She exclaimed suddenly, followed by another coughing fit. Foxy moved over and patted her back while she buried her face in the pillow. Keep the strain off the voice, lass, he murmured, putting wet cloth on her forehead when she resurfaced. She sighed in relief at the feeling, but her eyes snapped open again after a moment. I'm supposed to be watching the cameras, she mumbled. Cody's got that covered. He patted her head. Just relax. Freddie finally found the medicine and walked back over to them. What's the symptoms exactly? He asked. Sore throat, cough, dizzy, cold again. Ooh, pretty butterfly. She wrapped her jacket more tightly around her and shivered as she could produce a blanket from somewhere. Fever, Foxy added. Hallucination. Do you have a headache, lass? She looked back up at them from rubbing her face against the blanket. Yeah, I think there's an elephant in my head, too. Freddie sorted through the medicine and picked the ones that they needed. Allergic to anything, Ruby? She shook her head and then winced again. So there's no medicine you can't take? No, she answered verbally this time. After 10 minutes, they managed to coax her into taking the sweet, sickly sweet cough mixture. For 5 minutes, and she took the headache pills. You're impossible. You know that? Bonnie rolled his eyes. She stuck her tongue out at him. It's yucky. She cleared the taste out of her mouth with water while Foxy replaced the cup on her head with a fresh, cold one. Her eyes fluttered closed again as she enjoyed the cool fabric. Go get some sleep, Ruby, Goldie suggested. It's the best thing for you. She mumbled something that sounded vaguely like can't sleep on the job. She was losing a battle with her sickness-induced lethargy, though, and was quickly slipping to unconsciousness. They smiled slightly as she curled up more and fell asleep. You know, she's like a cute kid when she's not terrorizing anyone. She could chuckle. Yeah, just wish we didn't find that all out like this, Foxy sighed, allowing his mind to mull over what she had told them now that she was finally resting. The others nodded sadly. Seems she's been through more than we could ever know, Freddie murmured. Silence fell as they settled in to watch their favorite night guard. And that's the end of that. Whew! That's chapter 17. Done. We learned a bit about quite a bit about Ruby actually. So that was fun, or I guess interesting. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, leave a like. Be sure to subscribe. I upload new videos every Friday, and comment down below if you're enjoying the story. And I guess review the story too. Tell the author that you like the story too. Like give them love and support. They wrote this. I have nothing to do with this. I'm just sharing the love by reading it and sharing the story. So let them know. Comment down below if you have any suggestions for story ideas. Maybe in the for future, I might do some more. I have an idea of one series I want to do. So yeah, look forward to that. Um, yeah, and I'll be see you next Friday with a new video.